Okay. We're gonna get started. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Uh-oh. Hold on. Sorry. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. All the text messages basically seems like it's about to be read in this part. I thought I was going to make it to closing arguments as well today, but it looks like this is going to be its own piece. So they're finishing up with Sergeant Shannon Jones, which if you were here with me yesterday, or prior, if you caught the replay, y'all saw Sergeant Shannon Jones. This is a new day. She's continuing to do her testimony. The first portion is back in that interview room for about a little under 20 minutes where the audio is not the best. But oh, after that part, she's holding pages and pages of the text messages and she's going to be reading them from the stand. So you will not miss the disturbing things that were said in those text messages. Also, at one point, the camera pans to the back of the room and you can see what I think is Naziah's family. I feel like I recognize her grandmother, and I'm just looking like, ooh, as many of you have said, the adults failed Naziah. A lot of adults in Naziah's life failed her. I'm gonna try to take my notes and just keep most of my thoughts to the end on this one, because there's not much to too much say once you start hearing these messages. So yeah, trigger warning again. Obviously, the case overall is about a 13-year-old that is most likely has been murdered, and there was an adult that is on trial, the defendant, that violated her, groomed her, and is in court for being responsible for her death. So with that in mind, understand what you are probably need to be prepared to hear when those text messages get read out. So we'll go ahead and start. I may pause and have some commentary, but on this one, I think I won't have as much. And we'll just get through this bad audio of the interview, and then we'll get to Sergeant Shannon Jones back on the stand. Sorry, thank you for telling me. I'm so sorry. Hold on, I'll start it over. I didn't realize it was muted. Here we go.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going back so y'all can hear his charges read out, because I do want y'all to hear his charges. So hold on.
First degree premeditated. This is case 2459617, the people of the state of Michigan versus Jarvis Butts. Charged with count 1, homicide, murder, first degree premeditated. Count 2, child sexually abusive activity. Count 3, criminal sexual conduct, second degree, person under 13. Defendant 17 years of age or older, with the habitual offender fourth offense notice set for a continuance of a preliminary examination. Appearances.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tina Ripley on behalf of the people, P83688.
And good morning, Your Honor. Matthew Makepeace on behalf of the people, P82796.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning to your staff, Neighborhood Defender Services, by Ken Reagan, speak 82125 on behalf of Jarvis Butts.
Good morning, Your Honor. Neighborhood Defender Service by Cheryl Quick, P83973, also on behalf of Jarvis Butts with co-counsel Lauren Ballmer.
P88126.
And Mr. Butts, state your name.
Jarvis Butts.
You can have a seat. Any preliminary matters before we begin with the rest of Sergeant Jones' testimony?
No, Judge.
Okay. Oh, there she is.
Then here you asked her, this is hours why. Can I give you some today? Right. Okay, so nothing has happened. And then some pictures. you didn't share them to nobody. I try to figure out how to get them off the internet and anything like that. Usually get up pretty quickly and save them very quick. These fake invisible folders that are really, as you can see, not invisible. Yes. Right. Alright, so then still this is July, and it's talking about she wants to fly, you're very busy. So we're still entertaining here at this point. Alright, so here, I just want to give you this data will make you remember what was going on, because she said, I want to talk to you. Are you busy? Text me. Where are you at? I'm trying. She's doing all this. And then you said, why? Go upstairs in the bathroom. So you obviously were at the house. Alright, and you said, why? And she said, just go. And then you said, we doing something or what? Oh, she said, we doing something or what? And you said, no. And she says, I want to lay with you. And you said, I'm going upstairs. Okay, Shannon's going to be up here too. I just want to chill with you. So, is she? Yes. You know she wants some gifts, so she going to follow you upstairs.
Shannon?
Okay. So this is that day. And then you said, not getting me. This is your day. So apparently you weren't entertaining. So that's entertaining. Okay. I know what's mine. Give her some dick. So ask and shut up. So basically he's telling you, give her some so she can shut up and leave you alone. She only acted like that because she's horny. And then you said, I want to see you while you're in the shower. And I'm assuming that was well, so she's in a picture.
How long after that?
This is the same, this is still on that same day.
Was that right after?
Yeah, that's right after. Come back downstairs, so you're still up there. And she's pushing it, right? Like, Dan, hurry up, I want you back. Come downstairs so I can sit on it and feel it real quick. I promise it's not going to be long, just a few up and downs, please. Daddy, don't tell me you're scared. So, when I talk about all these things she was initiating, do you remember this day you were up there? And she's asking you to hurry up and go have sex with Shannon so then she can have sex with you? Still didn't know? Okay, you're still holding strong. Okay, so let me when you're in the house. And then you sit in the shower, also here's the pictures. Daddy, now you've turned into Daddy. So went from Bestie. Alright, well, we're still in July here. In the shower, what we know that we're fucking today is what.
All right, I'm gonna clarify as best I can what y'all have heard so far, because I don't know if they're going to say all these same text messages out there, but they do cover a lot of the text messages while she's on the stand. Trigger warning, trigger warning. This whole case is a trigger warning. Okay, so I'm paraphrasing some because I had to struggle to hear just like y'all, but I hit replay a lot. So Jarvis Butts texts Ziyah saying, "Can you make me something today?" Then there are more pictures between them. The sergeant says Ziyah was still reaching out to you. Ziyah texted him. This is around July 2023. The text that they're reading right now. They started in June 2024 for this particular time they're sitting down. Then it's going into July 2023. And Ziyah says, I want to talk. And these are between Ziyah and Jarvis the whole time. Ziyah says, I want to talk to you. Are you busy? Text me. Where you at? Go upstairs in the bathroom. Sergeant Jones says, so you were obviously at the house. And I do want to point out to y'all remember when, if you watch the other family members on the stand, they asked the grandmother, they asked Shannon Harris, Naziah's grandmother, and Annette, I believe, and then Shannon Harris, which is Naziah's aunt, the one that has 5 kids with Jarvis Butts. They said, has he ever been in the house? And when they were on the stand, from what I remember in my notes, they said he would always wait outside. That's what they said, right? Well, based on these text messages, he was in the house sometimes. So she's saying, come upstairs. And then Jarvis, and the sergeant says, so you were obviously at the house. Jarvis texts Naziah, why? Naziah says, just go. Then she says, we doing something or what? Jarvis said, yep. Okay, Yana said, yep. You remember, that's what they said. Naziah says, I want to lay with you. Jarvis says, I'm going upstairs. Naziah says, okay, Shannon, which is her aunt, is going to be up there too. I just want to chill with you. Jarvis says, is she? Naziah says, yes. You know she wants some DICK, so she's going to follow you upstairs. The male detective asked something along the lines of, did Naziah mean Shannon when Naziah was texting you, she's going to be upstairs and she's going to want some DICK? Jarvis says, yes, like verbally, he either nods or says yes to them while he's in this interview that y'all see right now. Then Jarvis texts Naziah back saying not getting any, meaning Shannon's not going to get any from him. He says, this is your day to Naziah. Jarvis tells Sergeant Shannon Jones he was just entertaining Naziah. He keeps standing by. I entertained the conversation. We never physically touched. We never did anything. Naziah then texts Jarvis, I know what's mine. Give her some D so her ass can shut up. Give her some so she can leave you alone. She's only acting like that because she's horny. Jarvis says to Naziah, but I want to see you. And then I had to put question marks because from what I could make out, he's saying while under the shower, but I'm not clear on that. But I'm telling you now, that sergeant is holding so many pages, they're probably going to go back over these dates as well. And I said 2023, but this might be 2020. Is this 2022? I'm double checking my notes. I believe this is 2023. I believe so because we're going to get to a crucial part when y'all were asking about how far along was Naziah when she was pregnant. So I believe this is 2023. They skipped between 2023 and some of it's 2022. Okay, so let me see. I'm finding my place. Sergeant Jones says the texts continue on the same day. Naziah says, text Jarvis, come back downstairs. I want you back. Come downstairs so I can sit on it. And then I had to put a question mark because I don't know what she said. Then the text message says, fill it real quick. I promise it's not going to be long. Just a few up and downs, please. Daddy, don't tell me you're scared. Sergeant Jones asks, do you remember this? To Jarvis. And basically he's mumbling. As y'all can see, I can't make out half the things he's saying to Sergeant Jones, which is the woman in here. And Sergeant Jones says, so this still didn't happen. So you're still holding strong on the fact that this is all you entertaining Naziah. And then Sergeant Jones says, so now you've turned into daddy. And then she reads a text message that says something about in the shower. Jarvis mumbles something. I can't understand what he's saying. Sergeant Jones says again, so you were still entertaining her, meaning Naziah. And she says, so, okay, so still nothing's happening. No kissing, no nothing, no touching, rubbing, nothing. And Jarvis says, right. Okay, and we're going to catch back up there because I think I'm ahead of them actually talking. So I'm going to hit play. But I just wanted y'all to not be sitting here listening to garbled nothingness, and some of it I can make out. So that's what I made out. So I'm going to hit play.
Over here, she's kind of talking about don't park in front Why do you like sleeping around? You can't. It's not set up that way. What about when you're at the shop? Did she ever try coming up and touching you or anything like that during all of this? There's always somebody there. Is there a room in the shop? No, I'm saying, is there like a private room? Like if you were tired and wanted to sleep there, there's a cot? I mean, you're saying this whole time, I'm just.
She never did a one-on-one with you to observe or and I know you said and she said, like, all right, enough talk, let's do it. Like, anything that she ever, like, trying to make something, you know, you said did that. Did you ever have to physically say stop? Okay. All right.
So you're.
Okay, just to get to where they stopped it so far, Sergeant Jones says, okay, no, she reads a text from Ziyah to Jarvis that says, don't park in front of the house, you better hurry up. Sergeant Jones asks, or, tells Jarvis, so she's trying to get you to sneak into the house. Was that something that you guys played through? And I'm paraphrasing played through because that's the part I couldn't make out really well. And then she said, follow through, that you were going to sneak into the house. Sergeant Jones says, what about when you were at the shop? Did she ever try to touch you or anything like that during all of this? Because he maintains no physical contact, no physical contact. Jarvis said there was always someone at the shop. And the only reason I know that he said that is because Sergeant Jones kind of repeats it after he says it. And then Sergeant Jones asked, is there a private room if you ever wanted to sleep? Which we know there's something because there's a mattress somewhere in that shop because that was one of the samples that they gave over to the lab. Jarvis, she reads another text message from Jarvis to Ziyah that says, that's messed up because I was going to F the out of you. The male detective asked Jarvis, so has she, Ziyah, ever been like, okay, enough talk, let's do it? Did you ever have to physically say stop? Sergeant Jones said, did you ever get along with her? Jarvis says never. Then I don't understand this, but I'm going to tell y'all what I think Sergeant Jones says. And she says something like, that same night, she, Ziyah, caught you sleeping in your room. Like it was a question. And then she says, so you went straight home that night. So if you rent somewhere, they have your ID and stuff on file, even at a short stay. And she's saying to Jarvis, because I don't know, I've never had a short stay. And I don't know if that would be that Parkcrest Motel that they had the dots when they were pinging his phone later when Ziyah went missing. I don't know if that's the same place or somewhere else, but she definitely said short stay, like a place you would probably rent by the hour for one day, stuff like that. That's how I took it. Those are the words she said. That's how I'm taking it. Then they get into September 2023 and it should play again, but I am going to tell y'all just because we were talking about this yesterday. This is when Ziyah texted him that she, her period did not come. So I'm going to let this keep playing, but September 2023 is when Ziyah identified through text message that she didn't get her period.
Playing clip 19.
Did you ever get along with her? Never? That same night that she went missing in your room? So you went straight home that night? When you get a room, when you have to show? So if you went somewhere, they would have your ID and stuff on file? Even though they're short stay or there in September, okay? She says, my period hasn't come at all. Hello, are you there? And you asked, what do you mean? She said, it had not came. Since when? Since I was in the hospital. That was last month. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I have to go to the doctors. You said that you took, you said this. You said that you took a pregnancy test and it was negative.
Do you remember that conversation, man? That was the moment that she said, she fighting the knee, though.
So you said she was slightly pregnant. You said that you took a pregnancy test and it was negative. I did. So go get another one. Is what you told her. She said, I can't have no money. She said, you go get one. So you ain't scared to get a plan B. Get a pregnancy test and bring it there today. Just act like. So this goes back, this plan B pill goes back to the pill message that you were referring to. That you said you were talking to Shannon. You never first about plan B pill?
You remember that talk, bro? I mean, is this the one where we're switching over to Shannon, or is that pretty much her?
That's not really small. Yeah, this is
Yeah, it's also her.
the other one, you can't remember the ball. You're talking about you can't know.
Yeah, that's right.
Was she just saying abortion?
Right.
So, but that was talking about the pill back then too.
Yeah.
So, we are being false, yes. She does ask if you will cuddle. Did you ever just cuddle with her on the couch? Not sexually, not whatever. Like, did she ever, when you came over, she sit next to you, like,
Okay, so just going over the audio just in case you couldn't make it out. Ziyah texted Jarvis, my period hasn't come at all. Hello, are you there? Jarvis says, what do you mean? Ziyah says, it hasn't came. Jarvis says, since when? Ziyah says, since I was in the hospital. That was last month. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I have to go to the doctor. Jarvis says, you said that you took a pregnancy test. It was negative. Then he verbally talks to the detectives in the room and tells them he hadn't ever had sex with Ziyah. He also said at first, when they first started reading those text messages out to him between the May 31st and the June 1st, 2024 interview that this took place at that time, he was saying anytime it was anything sexual, he was texting Shannon. He thought Shannon had the device. He didn't know Ziyah had it. So that's another thing he would say. Then he starts saying he just entertained what Ziyah would say to him. That's what he was saying. So do the mumbling. That's some of the things he's saying. And I can really only understand when they repeat to him back what he says, because he's just mumbling. So then Jarvis texts Ziyah and says, so go get another one, meaning another pregnancy test. Ziyah says, I can't. I don't have money. You go get one. Since you're not scared to get a plan B, get a pregnancy test and bring it here today. Sergeant Jones says, so this whole plan B pill goes back to the pill that you say you were taking to Shannon. Well, because at first when there was a plan B mentioned in a different part of the interview, he again said anytime they were talking about anything sexual, he's talking to Shannon. And she's like, clearly you're talking to Ziyah about this Plan B pill. Then Ziyah asks Jarvis if he'll cuddle. Sergeant Jones says, have you ever, cuddled with Ziyah? Not sexually. Have you sat next to her? Then this is when the male detective offers him water because the defense attorney for Jarvis was, trying to say he was insinuating during the time that Jarvis was being interviewed, they never offered him any food or drink. He also was trying to say they didn't read him his rights during the June 1st interview, stuff like that. But the judge already said that she would accept this because they did, and because they basically said, do you want to sign another advice of rights page like he signed on May 31st? And then they came the next day on June 1st, which is this is the June 1st right here. And they were saying, do you just want to read it over again? Do you want to sign a whole new form? Jarvis declined signing a whole new form. And they asked, do you still understand your rights? At the time he said yes. The judge said, I heard him mention he has gone to college. I accept his yes as a yes. He understood his rights. If he said he understood his rights, he declined to sign a new paper. So we're, basically moving on, accepting this interview into evidence. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go to the next part.
Just to let you know what's wrong, I know you're cheating. I just want to talk, I really don't want to lose you. Can we talk later? So what would she feel that, how is it that she would feel like you are cheating on her? So did you ever tell her that on these phone calls, like, I'm going to wait for you, and it's just going to be us, and when we get older, since... I'm seeing there's some phone calls. So, because that's just I'm trying to figure out why would she even cheating on you?
Does she know your lifestyle? I mean, if the ladies are talking about, you have a couple ladies. Okay, so she would know that you have a couple ladies, and therefore, like you gave her cheating. Okay, so she knows. She's talking to the ladies in the house. Hopefully they know each other. Okay, so. Yeah.
When I finished talking to her, she complained about a field class that the baby was hurting her. What was that? You remember that message at all? Well, that's definitely her. She's so small already that if there's 4 or 5 months, that's you really haven't had to change clothes yet. I mean, it's getting ready. Well, Well, the first one is different than the other ones.
All right. It's a lot of mumbling at the end, but at the part where I had paused it, Ziyah had texted Jarvis, just so that you know what's wrong. I know you're cheating. I just want to talk. I really don't want to be with you. Can we talk later? And then Sergeant Jones asked Jarvis, how is it that Ziyah would feel like you were cheating on her? Did you ever tell her on these phone calls, I will wait for you. It's just going to be us once you're older. Because obviously she, believes that they're in a relationship, and he keeps lying, but trying to maintain that they did not have a physical relationship. The male detective says, does Ziyah know about your lifestyle? Basically about him being with multiple women. Then a lot of it I couldn't hear, but they were talking about Ziyah showing, and did he know that she was showing? And it seemed like he was saying he didn't see any of that, but he made a motion on his stomach at one point. They're about to go to the last clip, and then we can get to the stand with Sergeant Shannon Jones.
And clip 21.
Kane saying like that she went out there, she came back, right? But Kane wasn't the only one that said that. Okay, there was a lady that you're related to that said, yeah, she was at the shop that night. I believe she was out there. Your sister was in the shop. Sister was in the shop. She said, you don't have a daughter.
All right, so they said a few people said Ziyah was in the shop, including someone Jarvis was related to. Then they referred to his sister Tijuana, and then Jarvis is saying Ziyah is only in the shop during the daytime and on the weekends. And we're going to the stand now, I believe. Let me see. Yeah.
Any other kind of weapons?
Yeah. Oh, let me go back. I'm skipping over crucial questions. Hold on.
Designer is getting that number.
Yes.
Now, I want to just backtrack a little bit before getting back to the messages. You had stated yesterday that when you searched Mr. Butts' home, you had found some guns.
Yes.
Did you, in any other searches, did you find any other kind of weapons?
Yes.
And what were the, well, first, where were they found and what were they?
When we had searched Neff, there was a firearm inside the vehicle, the same vehicle that had Mr. Butts' phone. That firearm was later determined to be registered to Tashiana. When we searched Mr. Butts' car, there were several kitchen knives in there throughout the car, various sizes. There was the weapons that were inside his home. And I believe that was as far as any weapons. There might have been some other type of blunt instrument or something, but nothing significant that I documented.
Okay. And Mr. Butts' vehicle that Escalade was processed?
Yes.
And those items were sent to the lab?
Yes.
And that's along with Miss Latricia Johnson's Nissan?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to talk talk in your training and experience, having been with police for 24 years, have you seen types of wounds made through clothing?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you saw the black hoodie that was recovered had some holes in the head, in the hood area.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you familiar with what, like either some sort of like sharp object or a gun or something of the sort? Are you familiar with what that would look like through clothing?
And yeah, at this point I'm going to object. I think the answer would call for her to speculate on what caused these wounds.
I'm not asking her to say what caused the holes.
Called the holes, my
In this
apologies.
specific case, but in her experience.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
you may be objecting after a few questions, but for this one, overruled.
Yeah, so throughout the hundreds of scenes that I've been to, various scenes, whether they may be fatal stabbing, it may be a blunt force trauma, I've responded and processed many gunshot scenes. When there's clothing where a weapon was used, you do see that type of tearing. It could be from a bullet hole, it could be from a knife, it could also be from a struggle or pulling.
Okay. And just to be clear, you don't know how those holes got in the hood of that black hoodie?
Correct.
Okay. But those holes could be, in your experience, consistent with things that you have observed in your training and experience as it relates to struggles, stabs, bullets, things of that sort?
Correct.
Okay. Now, on Mr. Butts' phone, after that January 9th text to Ziyah saying, okay, was there any other texts to Ziyah's number after that date?
From Mr. Butts' phone?
Yes.
No.
Okay. There was no attempts to reach Ziyah's number on Mr. Butts' phone?
There was no contact between Mr. Butts' phone and the text now number after that.
Okay. And in your role in this case, did you go through Ziyah's kind of social media records and things like that?
Yes.
Okay. And since January 9th, 2024, have you been able to find anything as it relates, anything from Ziyah Harris on social media?
No.
Now, we got to hear some of these text messages in the interview.
Okay, so before they get to the text messages, where y'all will definitely hear them way clearer, and they're going to start with 2022. The ones we saw in the interview, they started with 2023, just to clarify. But also just to keep continuity, Ziyah went missing January 9th, 2024. The last messages between her and anybody was between her and Jarvis Butts, and she was texting him about meeting up with him. He had been Googling ways to have abortions through teas, pills, and can somebody drink red antifreeze. So January 9th, 2024 is when she went missing. And that was the last communication that she had on her phone with anyone. And so now they're about to ask the sergeant about the numbers, and she'll start reading some of the text messages once they get the numbers established.
But going through them, that's it. We're going to start now. Let's start with 15. Starting with people's exhibit 15. These are the messages from 313-379-5882. And you have a copy with you?
I don't have a copy of that number.
from that number to Jarvis Butts' number, or I guess the messages that were captured within People's Exhibit 50. So, including the dates and approximate times.
So the first message is September 24th, 2022 at 22:15 hours UTC. She says, "Bald head Janiyah, come here."
And that's to a number that's not Mr. Butts.
Correct.
Okay.
Then the next message is on September 27th, 2022. All of these dates are from 2022. So September 27th at 1:37 a.m. UTC. It is sent to Mr. Butts' phone. "We fitnessing, happy birthday." Immediately after that, at the 17-second mark, again to Mr. Butts' phone, it says, "Come on." On that date, September 27th at 1:52 a.m., another message is sent to Butts' phone asking, "You okay?" September 27, 2022, 1:54 a.m., she sent a message, "Where we doing it at your choice." Immediately following that text, a message is received to Ziyah, to this text now number, from Mr. Butts' phone that says, "You tell me." 9:27, 1:55 a.m., a message is replied to Jarvis, says, "Basement." 1:56 a.m., a message is sent to Ziyah from Mr. Butts' phone that says, "You sure?" At 1:56 a.m., a message is sent to Ziyah, from Ziyah to Mr. Butts, saying, "Or job."
Okay, let me do a quick sound test because this is supposed to be the good audio. So let me know, have y'all been able to hear Sergeant Jones so far since she's reading out the text messages from the stand? Because yeah, that y'all, I could hear her clearer when I'm listening to it, and my audio should be playing straight through the same way. So I'm gonna wait just a second before we keep going. Let me know, are y'all able to hear her while she's on the stand? And sorry for the pause, but I gotta make sure, because if not, it's not gonna help anyone to not be able to hear it. So hopefully, because Janice, I see you, Janice, saying you can't hear her. So I'm just doing like hopefully a general crowd check to see if it's anything else. Okay, Yana, you can hear her. Okay. Cannot hear. Mary said cannot. Okay. I am going to do a little bit of audio gain, and I'm gonna turn this caption on because the caption should be able to pick her up on the stand better. The caption would not have gotten the interview that well, but hopefully this will be better. So let me tell you what she said so far instead of going all the way back. Hold on. Okay, so it says first Ziyah was texting a number that wasn't Jarvis on September 24th, 2022. Then September 27th, 2022, Ziyah says to Jarvis, "We're finishing, happy birthday. Come on, you okay?" Then it says, "Where are we doing it at? Your choice." Ziyah, hold on. Jarvis says to Ziyah, "You tell me," and Ziyah says the basement. And I don't know how far she got, so I'm just gonna read this and then I up the audio. But Jarvis says, "Are you sure?" Ziyah said, "Or the job." Jarvis, oh yeah, I don't think we got this far then. Okay, hold on. So I'm trying to max out her audio. Hopefully, let me know. Can y'all hear it once I hit play again?
At 1:57 a.m., a message is sent to Ziyah from Mr. Butts' phone saying, "Can you suck my dick, please?" The message immediately following that from Mr. Butts' phone to Ziyah, and make sure you erase the messages. Still September 27th, 1:59 UTC. A message is sent to Mr. Butts that says, "Kay, that is what I planned to do." Another message is immediately following that at 2:01 to Mr. Butts. "You turn me on just looking at you," and then there's a bunch of letters, which possibly it's maybe an image that was sent that doesn't capture on the messages. 2:02 a.m. Ziyah sends another message to Jarvis, "What time to be in the basement?" 2:03 a.m. he replies and sends her a message that says, "Go change your clothes and take your panties off." Ziyah replies to Mr. Butts and says the letter K. At 2:10 a.m., so 7 minutes later, a message is sent from Ziyah to Jarvis's phone. "I hear you. What you looking at?" Jarvis replies back immediately to her saying the letter U. At 2:13 a.m. UTC, still on September 27th, Ziyah sends Jarvis a message that says, "I know, I'm finna sleep good." There's another message directly after that that has a bunch of symbols, so I'm not sure if it was one of those little emojis. 2:14 a.m. she sends to him, "What about you?" The next message she sends to him immediately after, "Sometimes I be wanting to live with you." 2:16 a.m. she sends to him, "You know what I mean." 2:18 a.m. she sends, "What time I'm ready." 2:23 a.m. she sends to Mr. Butts' phone number, "We not doing it or what?" 2:23 a.m. Ziyah sends to Mr. Butts, "I really want you." This is still on the same day, September 27th, 2022. This is now 2:23 a.m. UTC time. Mr. Butts replies to Ziyah, "Yes." 2:24 a.m. Ziyah sends, "Pull your car down the street and come back. I'll be waiting." 2:25 a.m. Jarvis's phone replies back to her, "Come ride with me and Nye, N-I-Y."
Nye is his daughter, Janiyah.
2:25 a.m. she replies, "Did they say I can come?" At 2:30 UTC, she sends him a message that says, "I'm sorry, but love you." 2:30 UTC, he immediately replies back, "Come on." 2:31, Ziyah replies, "I can't, I'm going to get in trouble." The next message is at 2:35. She sends, "When you come back, drop Nye off, pull your car down the street, and I'll come in the base. I'll be waiting." Then immediately after that, she sends, "Basement, please." Jarvis replies, "Okay." At 2:40, Jarvis replies, "You in the basement yet?" Immediately after that, Ziyah replies back, "Yeah." Now we are the next day being, it's now September 28th, 2:28 a.m. UTC. She sends Jarvis a message that says, "Are we doing it tonight? I'm ready, fresh out the shower." The next message is a reply from him to her. Well, this is September 30th now at 1:25 a.m. UTC. He replies, "Yo." September 30th, 2:59, she replies, "You coming over?" She then sends another message directly after that, "Don't have school." At 3:07, a reply is received to Ziyah from Jarvis saying, "Yep." She then replies, "Kay, we'll be waiting." At 3:17 a.m., he sends another message, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, "Text me when you get here." At 3:21 a.m., this is still September 30th date, Jarvis replies and sends a message to her saying, "Outside." Now we have skipped to September 30th, but it is now on here at 23:13 hours UTC. She sends a message to Jarvis saying, "Hey boo, you coming over?" The next message is now October 1st, 2022, 1:51 UTC. She sends a message to Jarvis asking, "You coming?"
And are there any other messages to Jarvis after that? Mr. Butts' phone?
No.
Okay. And now, do those indicate whether or not they were deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And how many of those were deleted? Or how many of them were not deleted is a better question.
Looks like all of them were deleted except for the one where she was, at the very beginning, she had actually texted somebody else, which I believe might have been Shannon's phone at the time, saying, "Baldhead Janiyah, come here." But all the messages between the 8719, which is Jarvis's number, are marked on here as deleted except, let's see. On September 30th, the "Hey boo, you coming over?" And the "You coming" text, those ones were not deleted and still show on here.
Okay, so those last two.
This is where they zoomed in on the people behind Jarvis. Is the one in the white t-shirt the grandmother? I don't know their faces enough yet, but this is everybody that's behind him right now. Since they took the time to zoom, I'm taking the time to pause so y'all can see who was in that courtroom for this day. And this is the final day, so I don't know if they've been in there the other days. They probably haven't, because I think the witnesses couldn't be in there when other witnesses were testifying. So this is probably the only day they've been in there like that.
"You coming" text, those ones were not deleted and still show on here.
Okay, so those last two.
Yes.
Okay. Now, going through People's Exhibit 16 messages, as it relates to the 231-743-3137. Oh, I'm sorry, before that, without telling us Ziyah's actual birthday, in September 24th, 2022, what age had Ziyah just turned?
In 22,
Yes.
she would have just turned 12.
Now, do you have a set of these, the messages from the 231 number?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to go through those. And there are sections that are highlighted, and I want to follow along. What is the first message that is sent?
It is sent on March 4th, 2023 at 23:35 UTC. It's sent to Jarvis's 8719 number, and it says, "It's me, Ziyah."
Okay. And just for clarification purposes, all the messages within this exhibit are sent to Jarvis's 8719 number.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to jump to March 16th of 2023. There's a highlighted message there. Can you read that one?
Yeah, so just before that, the UTC time on here, just so I'm not having to math throughout, from March 10th to November 3rd, it would be minus 4 hours. So any date that falls within those days would be minus 4. Any dates outside of those ranges would be minus 5 hours.
And you said that's
But I'm
March-
going to read it off of here what the time is stamped and date.
Okay, you said that's March 10th through November.
3rd,
Okay, that's minus 4 UTC.
minus 4, yes.
Okay. So continue with that.
Yep,
March
so
16th.
March 16th, 2023 at 0006 hours, she receives a message from Jarvis that says, "Stop messing with people and just be mine."
And was that deleted?
No.
Now, moving on to May 3rd, 2023. There's a set of highlighted messages. Can you read those?
Yeah, so these messages are May 3rd, 2023, starting at 15:06. Jarvis sends a message that says, "I'm coming to get you." Immediately after, Ziyah replies, "What you mean?" Jarvis then replies to her, "You heard me." Immediately after that, Ziyah replies to Jarvis, "You can't do that." Then sends another message immediately after, which is now still 15:07 hours, that says, "I'm finna go to lunch, love you."
And were any of those messages deleted?
No.
Now, moving to May 30th of 2023.
May 30th, 2023 at 13:01 hours, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, "I miss you." At 13:02 hours, he replies back the letters "I am you" and then the number 2.
And were either of those deleted?
No.
And what about starting with May 31st of 2023?
May 31st, 2023, this is at 13:37 hours. He sends her a message that says, "I can't stop thinking about you either." The next message then goes and is now June 5th, 2023 at 11:59 p.m., 11:59 UTC. She sends a message to Jarvis, "Hey, you may think I'm ignoring you, but I'm not. My phone broke." At 12 o'clock, another message is sent, "So I will text you off this number." At 12:01, same date, she sends him a message, "Are you mad at me?" At 12:01, he replies back to her, "Yes." At 12:02, she replies back the letter Y. At 12:03, she sends, "Please don't be mad." At 12:04, she sends, "Can you tell me why you mad at me, yes or no?" At 12:05, he replies to her saying, "I haven't seen or talked to you."
Okay. Now, first, were any of those deleted?
No.
Okay. Now I want to actually go to one that I did not highlight. 12:08, June 5th, 12:08 and 28 UTC through June 5th, 12:08 and 49 UTC. Can you read those?
Those 3?
Yes.
Okay, so June 5th, 2023, 12:08, 28 seconds. He sends her a message with the letters WYA at 12:08:35 seconds. She replies, school. 12:08:49. He sends her a message that says, I'm at your house.
And now, I want to go, actually, can you keep reading through June 5th at 12:09? Oh. $12:09 and 4 seconds.
So the next, so just one more message down?
Yeah, just keep reading it.
Okay. 12:08, June 5th, he had sent to her, I'm at your house. At 12:09 and 4 seconds, she says, damn, we was just. Then immediately after that is another text that says, there. Then at 12:11, she sends him, you bet not be in my room. At 12:12, she sends, I need another phone. At 12:13, she sends, I miss you. At 12:14, he sends her a message that says, I stole your panties.
Okay. And now, were any of those messages deleted?
No.
Okay. Now I want to go to June 16th. There's some highlighted messages there.
June 16, 2023, at 2:50 a.m. and 25 seconds, she sends to Jarvis, didn't I make you come faster than ever? On June 17, at 8:59 and 06 seconds, she sends to Jarvis, I'm sorry for making you mad, but do you ever think how I feel knowing that I can't have you to myself, but you have me to yourself, and no, I'm not seeing anybody else, I swear.
And were either of those deleted?
No.
Now I want you to go down on the page to June 23rd. And there's a set that are highlighted.
Yes. June 23rd, 2023 at 23:54 hours, she sends a message to Jarvis, the letter U, then you going to hit it from the back again with question marks. At the next day, which is now June 24th at 19:11 hours, he sends her a message that says, send me some pictures, please. At 19:20, she replies, don't you still got the other pics? At 19:47, he replies to that and says, no. At 20:19 hours, she sends to him, I will send some.
And now moving through to June 26th. There's a set highlighted there. Oh wait, sorry, first, those ones that you just read, were those deleted?
Yes.
Okay, now moving to June 26th.
June 26, 2023 at 16:31 hours, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, call me when you have time. At 16:33 hours, he replies back to her, I want some pussy. At 16:33 hours and 50 seconds, she replies back to him, you can have some. At 16:39 hours and 41 seconds, he replies to Ziyah, when? At 16:49 hours and 28 seconds, she sends to Jarvis, whenever you come get me. At 21:16 hours, she sends to Jarvis, call me, want to tell you some, S-U-M. At 21:24 hours, she sends a message to Jarvis that says, you can get some today. At 21:24 hours, she sends another message that says, you can get some pussy today.
And were any from that set deleted?
Yes, all of them.
All of them, okay. Now moving to June 27th. There's a set that's highlighted. Can you read those, please?
Yes. June 27th at 7:55 UTC.
Okay, before she continues reading, this is where, for me, I saw Judge Aaliyah Sabree, I think is how she pronounces her name. She just takes a deep breath, leans back, closes her eyes like she is, I don't know what she's doing, but for me, it's like praying for strength. I don't know, but she just like takes a really deep breath. So y'all, I went back a couple of seconds so you could see it. Like, it's just hard to just sit there and hear all of that, I'm sure. And then of course it's weighing on her on where it would have gone, which now we know because we're in the present time that she did say, yes, this does need to go to trial. So I'll just rewind it back a little bit just so y'all could see that part.
Set that's highlighted. Can you read those, please?
Yes. June 27th at 7:55 UTC. There is a incoming call to Ziyah from Jarvis that is listed as a missed call, and the name on here that she has this number saved is Bae for Life, BAE, the number 4, and then life. Then at 7:56, he sends her a text that says, "Are you naked yet?" At 7:58, she replies to him and says, "No, I don't want to get naked." At 7:59, she replies, "Are you mad that I didn't get naked?" At 8:01 hours, he sends to her, "I used to you telling me no." At 8:06, still on June 27th, he sends her a message that says, she sends him a message that says, "Come on, babe, I'm sorry, just not in the mood right now, I'm sorry."
Okay, and were those messages deleted?
Yes.
Okay, now jumping to just a little later in the day on June 27th, there's a set highlighted.
So on June 27th, now at 16:24 hours, he sends her a message that says, "But I can't nut inside you, so it's different." At 16:25, she replies, "Why you can't? Didn't you do it before?" At 16:25 and 40 seconds, he replies, "But I had to buy a pill to do so." At 16:26, she replies to him, "Yeah, you right." At 16:26, 28 seconds, she sends, "But what you doing?" but it's abbreviated WYD. At 16:28 and 45 seconds, she sends to him, "Are you busy?" with a question mark. And those were deleted.
Thank you. Now, jumping forward to June 28th.
On June 28th, so this next set in here, they're all sent from Ziyah to Jarvis.
Yes.
And they start at 17:10 on June 28th, 2023. And it starts off as, "Bae, I didn't go see nobody. I swear I came straight back." At 17:11, "My friend lived right down the street. She didn't answer, so I came back and went to sleep." The next message, "Bae, please, I'm sorry." Immediately after that, she sends, "I didn't sneak out for nobody, I swear." 17:12, 58 seconds, she sends, "I know you having a rough day, but I swear I'm not lying." At 17:14, she sends, "Babe, please, I swear I didn't go see no niggas." 17:14, she sends, "I don't talk to nobody but you." 17:15, she sends, I was only out for 5 or 10 minutes. I came straight back. 17:15 and 56 seconds. You didn't respond to none of my messages, so I thought you were asleep, so I went to sleep. 17:17. Why won't you believe anything I tell you? I'm not like other girls. There is no need for me to lie to you. 17:18. You said I'm all yours, but you acting like it. You are overthinking it. I just want to be yours. 17:19. Please stop ignoring my calls. You don't want me to see nobody, and I'm not. 17:20. Bae, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. 17:21. I promise you there is no one else. 17:24. If you don't believe me, I will send you my Instagram password.
Now, these next messages, from 17:24 to 17:25, don't read what the username and passwords are, just that they were sent.
So the next message is she's sending her Instagram username and a password along with her Gmail email and giving the password to that as well.
Okay, and now starting again with 17:26.
So on June 28th, still 17:26, the next message is still all being sent to Jarvis from Ziyah are, I hope you believe me now. You really don't want to believe me, but I will tell you the truth every time. Immediately after that, I just want to make your day better, babe. I'm sorry. Feel free to log in at any time or go through my messages. Now at 17:42, she sends, I only want to be with you. At 18:09, babe, I'm sorry for not telling. I swear I will next time, please. Still 18:09, babe, I love you. Please call me back. Now at 18:18, come on, babe, please. At 18:19, so what if I will be able to get out tonight and I'm calling you and texting you, are you still going to ignore me? At 18:21, she says, you are so busy, I feel like you don't want me. This is why I don't open up to you, because if I do, you get mad and don't want to talk. So how am I going to trust you? I do, but you don't trust me. It's up to if you want to be with me or not. At 18:45, she says, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't get why you so upset. At 18:46, all I try to do is make you happy, but clearly I'm not enough for you. Cut me off. I don't anymore. You FRL, for real. Never even fucked with me. All I want is you to love me. At 18:47, I tried so hard, but you don't understand that. I'm sorry if you feel like I'm cheating. But I'm not. I gave passwords and all that, and all. What more do I have to prove I'm not cheating? Now this message is when Jarvis actually finally replies, which is at 18:55. He sends to her, I'm working, love.
And were those messages deleted?
Yes.
Now, moving on to June 29th.
June 29, 2023 at 21:44 hours. She sends to Jarvis, when you off work. At 21:49, she sends, pick me up before you pick up Janiyah. At 22:02, she sends, hope to see you soon. At 22:47, she sends, I'm never getting out of this hellhole. At 22:48, he replies with the letter Y. 22:48, she sends, she will never let me out. It's so boring over here. 22:50, she sends, well, I will. She has the word she on there. UTM. And then the very next text after that, it says, I will see you tomorrow. Then at 22:50, he replies to her, or tonight.
And were those messages deleted?
Yes.
Now, continuing on June 29th.
June 29th, 22:52 hours. Ziyah sends, are you still picking up Janiyah? 22:53, he replies, when? 22:53, she sends to him, today. At 22:53, he replies back, no. 22:53, 18 seconds, she sends the letter Y. 22:53, he sends back to her, it's just me and you. At 22:53, he sends another message that says, because I was never picking her up. At 22:53, she replies, okay, I really like that it's only me and you. 22:54, he sends back, you really didn't want her there, no way. 22:54, she replies, I know I didn't want her there. 22:55, he replies to her with the letter Y. 22:55, she sends back, because she do too much and you mine. 22:57, Jarvis replies to Ziyah saying, meaning. 22:58, he then sends, and Shan said that she said no. Then the next message from him is for today. At 23:06, Ziyah sends Jarvis, I know she said no for today. And then at 23:07, Ziyah sends, the meaning is you're mine and mine only, the dick, and all you're mine and will stay mine. At 23:14, she sends, I want to know the meaning when you say I'm yours. The date on here is now June 30th at 00:16 hours. Jarvis replies to her and says, all of you. Immediately after that, your mind, body, and soul. At 00:17 hours, he sends to Ziyah, the pussy, ass, mouth, legs, arms, face, and then he has the word everything in all caps. At 01:19 hours, she replies, oh really? And then there's some type of emoji. Immediately after that, she says, want to see that tomorrow? And it's the same little symbols on there. At 02:47 hours, he sends back to her, meaning. It's now 06:03 hours. She sends to him, when we fuck. Then at 06:24 hours, he sends a message to her, what you doing, but it's just the letters WYD.
And were those messages all deleted?
Yes.
Okay. Now moving later in the day to June 30th.
June 30th at 22:18 hours, Jarvis sends to Ziyah, I'm outside. Then the next message is at 23:36 hours. He sends to Ziyah, go take them panties off. At 23:37 hours, Ziyah sends, are we going to the room? 2337, Jarvis replies, IDK, meaning I don't know. 2338, she sends to him the letters PLS, or please. 2338, he replies to her the letter Y. 2339, she replies back and says, because we got more space. 2339, he then sends a message to her that says, to do. She then immediately replies, to fuck, WYM, or what you mean. Then immediately after that, she sends to him, we going or what?
And moving forward to July 1st. Oh, wait, first of all, were any of those messages just read deleted?
All of these were deleted.
Okay. Now to July 1st.
July 1st, 2023 at 14:31, she sends a message to Jarvis that says GM or good morning. At 15:22, he replies GM quitting. At 15:24, she sends back whatever, I was tired. And at 15:28, she sends still my dick though. At 15:28, he sends to her, there's 3 letter B's, so it's VVV dot BE and then a space N and then the uppercase Q and the lowercase q as we know. He then sends another message at 15:28 with the words no. At 15:29, she sends, okay, fine. Yo, pussy, my dick. He then replies to her at 15:38, who said? She sends back to him, me. It's your pussy.
And were those deleted?
Yes.
And I want to stay on that same page for a second. Sorry. The messages on July 1st, starting from 1907 to 2135.
July 1st, 1907, he sends a message to her that says, I'm trying to fuck. At 1952, she replies back, okay. At 1952, she sends a message that says, WSP, meaning what's up. Then at 21:34, she sends, you still coming or you was playing about trying to fuck? At 21:35, he replies back to Ziyah, I'm serious.
And were those deleted?
Yes.
And now moving on to July 2nd.
July 2nd, 2023 at 15:46 hours, Jarvis sends a message to Ziyah that says, can I get my dick sucked today? At 15:47, she replies, sure, no problem. At 15:50, Jarvis replies, yeah, okay. At 15:53, Ziyah replies, I'm serious, you can. At 16:33, Ziyah sends, there's going to be some type of photo that would have been sent at this time. At 17:08, there's a reply from Jarvis where it says, liked an image. Then at 17:08, Jarvis says, I'm going to sneak in, okay? At 17:08, Ziyah replies back, why? 17:08, he says, who is up? At 17:09, she replies, everybody. At 17:09, Jarvis sends some type of photo to Ziyah. Immediately after that, she replies, well, damn, I want to lay with you. Then at 17:10, from Ziyah, are you here already? At 17:12, Shan told the kids that you said you was on your way, so they know you coming. At 17:13, Ziyah sends, I want to see you. 17:21, Ziyah sends, so am I just giving you head, or we fucking too, because looking at that picture made me horny. At 17:22, Jarvis replies to her, you tell me. 17:22 and 29 seconds, she says, I want to fuck too. Immediately after that, she says, so can we? And then at 17:22, 49 seconds, Jarvis replies back to her, yep.
And were those messages deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And now, later in the day, on June 2nd, or I'm sorry, July 2nd, there's a set of messages there.
Yes. July 2nd, 2023, starting at 18:41 hours, she sends to Jarvis, I want to fuck. At 18:41, do you? 19:04, are you busy, yes or no? 20:06, she sends, text me when you not on BS about fucking, because you playing. At 20:15, she sends, all I'm trying to say, I just want your body on mine. At 20:44, she says, babe, where are you at? 21:52, she says, I'm trying to fuck. 23:58, she sends, she fitting to walk to the store. So now the date's changed to July 3rd and the hours are 00:42. She sends, before we go. At 00:42, 31 seconds, she sends, go upstairs in the bathroom. At 00:42, 48 seconds, Jarvis replies to her, why? At 00:42, 54 seconds, Ziyah replies back, just go. At 01.
Okay. Ooh, I'm just gonna take a talk break real fast because it's coming in. It's a lot coming in really quickly. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm gonna read some of y'all's comments and then I have a couple comments. So Stylish BB said he groomed that baby and it's so sad. I honestly don't think he unalived her. I believe in my heart that Shannon did. Jamie said, I think she, as in Shannon, knew or had a part in it, or the cleanup, getting rid of Ziyah's body and planting her clothes and shoes. Mary said this is outrageous. And yes, Stylish BB, I haven't seen the links to see the other part because he is definitely in court for a separate case at the same time for violating his own flesh and blood. Definitely have heard about that. I think they categorized it as, I don't know if they're 8 years old now, but it's bad. But and then he already had a prior history before it even got to this point. But yes, I'm aware of that second one too. Jamie said this is hard to listen to. He is absolutely disgusting. She was a child. He groomed her and ain't no telling what else may have happened to her before him. Only Smile said he groomed her to talk like that. He's a piece of... And yes, I agree. Darlene said, my God, this baby is speaking like a grown woman. He really groomed her. May God rest her soul once he's convicted, and the grandma and auntie too. Catrice said that he had that baby so far gone. She sounds like a grown woman in those text messages. Yes, this is what grooming looks like. And I do thank God that I have not seen it with my own eyes. I just see more people defending Ziyah from people that talk like they'll say they do the whole she was fast. They'll say the whole they adultify her. And I haven't thankfully seen it directly. I've more seen people responding like, y'all don't understand what grooming looks like type of responses. Yes, this is grooming. This is exactly what it is. This is not normal for a child. Like, and I wish, and I don't know what they did, and I don't know if they did it and ruled it out, but I wish that they, as thoroughly as they tracked his phone and had a search warrant for any car he used plus his car, I wish they also did that for at minimum the grandmother and the Aunt Shannon. I don't know for sure how extreme their role was in Ziyah's death, but I do feel like they had at least the role of neglect if it didn't go further than that. I think they still need to be investigated at minimum by CPS, but I do feel like everything that they investigated on Jarvis, I wish they had also tracked with those two at minimum. I don't trust that they didn't know anything, and they got on the stand earlier this year and said he has not been in the house, knowing he has, because based on the text messages, he at least has been in the house to have sex with the aunt. Like, they were still dealing with each other. So why are you saying, oh, he's never been in the house? Why are you making a point to lie about something so simple? Before we even get to the harder hitting stuff. So I just wish they would investigate him as hard as they are investigate those two as hard as they've investigated him. I just want, even if it's to the fact to rule out how much of a role they played, and also they need to just look after those other children that are still there, because this doesn't stop, and there's usually more than one predator around children. So that's what I feel like. I don't know how much that aunt and grandmother did, but I can see how much they definitely neglected to do at minimum. It's just ridiculous. And again, as most people say, so many adults in Ziyah's life failed her.
11 hours, Ziyah sends, we doing something or what? At 01:12, he replies to her, yep. At 01:23, she replies, I want to lay with you. At 01:30, he replies, I'm going upstairs. At 01:31, she sends, okay, Shan going up there too. At 01:31, she says, I just want to chill with you. At 01:32, he sends back to her, is she? 01:32, and Ziyah replies, yes, you know she wants some dick. So she going to follow you upstairs. Then at 01:43 hours, she sends him another picture. 01:43, he replies, not getting any. And then immediately after that, the message says from him to her, this is your dick. At 01:44, Ziyah sends, I know it's mine. Give her some dick, so ask and shut up. At 01:44, give her some so she can shut up and leave you alone. She only acting like that because she's horny. At 01:48, Jarvis replies, I want to see you. Immediately after that, his next message is, while you in the shower. Then at 01:55, she sends him a photo. It is now 02:04 hours. He sends her a message that says, I don't want to give her no dick. At 02:10 hours, these next set of messages are all from Ziyah. It says, come back downstairs. damn, you scared. At 02:44 hours, she sends, hurry up. I want you back. At 02:50 hours, she sends, come downstairs so I can sit on it real quick. At 02:52 hours, she sends, I promise it's not going to be long, just a few, but it's FRW, up and downs, please. Then immediately, right after that is 02:53, she sends the same message, but it's spelled correctly. It says, I promise it's not going to be long, just a few up and downs.
And were all of those messages deleted?
Yes.
Now moving to July 4th.
July 4th, 2023 at 15:43 hours, Ziyah sends Jarvis a message that says, in the shower right now, I'll text you when I get out. Jarvis then replies, hope you know that we fucking today. At 15:43 hours, she replies back, okay, fine with me, I was waiting yesterday. At 16:20, she sends him a picture. At 16:20, she sends, I'm out. At 16:56, a message is received to her. It's loved in image. 16:56, she sends a message, are you busy? It is now July 5th, 05:01 hours, she sends him a message that says, you was right, it hit different outside.
And were those messages deleted?
Yes.
And moving to July 6th.
July 6, 2023 at 03:05 hours, Ziyah sends to Jarvis, yes, I can tell.
Just real quick, most of these were deleted. They're reading them no matter if they're deleted or not, because thankfully with the extractions, just because you don't see it anymore, they can still find it and see it. So that's why they're still able to see most of these, because most of these have been deleted. If it was dependent on the fact that they deleted it and we couldn't see them, then they wouldn't have much to read. But these are deleted, but they're never truly deleted, because technology. And so when they did the extraction, they could still find them, even though it was, I'm air quoting, deleted.
When you come 03:05 hours, why? Now at 03:20 hours, she sends him a message that says, so doesn't that mean I'm pregnant? At 03:21 hours, she sends him a message, I don't know, so I'm asking you. At 03:33, Jarvis replies to Ziyah, no. 03:39, she replies back, okay. It now jumps to 13:10 hours, it's still on July 6th. She sends the letters GM. Then at 1400 hours, she sends, I want to fuck. At 14:25, he replies, how? At 14:26, she says, I don't know, you got work and I'm just horny. At 14:27, he replies and sends her a message that says, where is your Nana? At 14:45, she sends, upstairs getting ready. At 14:54, Jarvis sends to her, she fitting to go. Then at 14:57, he sends the message, hello. At 15:03, Ziyah replies, I don't know. The next message is, are you at work? And at 15:07, Ziyah sends, I will let you know. At 15:08, she sends, you might can slide if you not so busy at work. At 15:08, Jarvis replies back to Ziyah, yeah. At 15:08, he then sends, I'm trying to slide. At 15:13, Ziyah sends to Jarvis the word question. Then at 15:13, he replies back yes. At 15:14, she sends, do you like your girls skinny? At 15:14, he replies, why you ask that? At 15:14, she replies, just asking, and then there's some type of emojis that must have been sent.
And were those messages deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And moving just a little later in the minutes on July 6th.
Yeah, July 6, 15:35, Ziyah sends, I don't think she's going anywhere. At 15:37, Jarvis sends to Ziyah, that's messed up because I was gonna fuck the shit out of you. At 15:37, she sends, I still want you to do it. At 15:40, she says, sends a message that says, so am I going to see you today on your break? At 15:59, Jarvis replies, how? At 16:01, Ziyah sends, don't you supposed to be bringing me the money anyway, so I will see you? 16:03, she says, unless you are going to go to the store and get me some pads and other personal things. 16:03, there's some type of emojis that are sent. 16:24, she sends, I'm down to my last 3 pads. I would ask Nana, but I can't fit her big pads. I have a little pussy, they shit big. At 17:41, she sends a bunch of question marks with the letters WYA. 17:57, she sends, what do I supposed to do? What do I supposed to use? 17:57, she sends another set of question marks. At 18:08, Jarvis replies with the word, huh. At 18:10, Ziyah says, I don't have any more pads. 18:10, I need to get some more and you playing. At 18:12, she sends, babe, please. And all of those messages were deleted.
Okay. And moving to July 7th.
July 7th, 2023 at 14:34 hours, and Ziyah sends a message that says, so what you on today? The next message at 14:35, she sends, you trying to fuck or what? At 14:37, Jarvis replies back, yes. 14:38, Ziyah sends, I'm sorry. 14:38 again, she sends, but I hope to see you today. At 14:39, she sends, I didn't know if you were up last night, so I stopped calling and texting. And those messages were deleted.
And now moving to July 10th.
July 10th, 2023 at 16:41 hours. Ziyah sends to Jarvis, you trying to get up in this today? At 16:45, he replies, all the time. At 18:54, she sends, you eat lunch yet? Then immediately after, she sends some question marks. Now at 19:54, Ziyah sends, yo, job so empty. 19:55, she sends, I was just there. At 19:59, Jarvis replies the letters I and K, or I know. At 19:59, he sends, how you know? At 20:14, Jarvis sends, what's up? 20:39, as I replies, I didn't want you to see me. 20:39 hours, so I left. At 20:40, Jarvis sends a message to Ziyah saying, who was with you? At 20:40, she replies, nobody. 20:40, again, 37 seconds, she says, you working late today? At 20:40 hours, 38 seconds, Jarvis sends to her, so how did you get to my job? At 20:40, 48 seconds, he then sends, no. 20:40 and 58 seconds, Ziyah replies, I walked up there. At 20:41, Jarvis replies back to her, so walk now. At 20:41, Ziyah replies, I can't, Nana's back. At 20:42, she sends, can you pull up today since you're not working late? 20:42, she sends a couple question marks. Then he replies at 20:42 and 29 seconds with the word yup, and those messages were deleted.
And moving on to July 11th.
July 11, 2023 at 18:43 hours, Ziyah sends to Jarvis, I want to fuck. At 1900 hours, he replies, when? At 2012 hours, she sends the three letters NVM, or never mind. At 2038, she sends, I took a shower. At 21:32, she sends, I be trying so hard not to think about you, but the dick too good not to think about you, and I miss you rubbing on my thigh. The date is now July 12th, and this is at 00:35 hours. She sends, we might go over Sham Crib. At 02:55 hours, she sends, I'm fitting to hop in the shower. Call as soon as you get done doing whatever. I want you to tell me how you going to give me my dick for my B-day. Tell me nice and slow and sexy so I can play NVM, you know.
And were those deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And later on July 12th.
July 12th at 14:38 hours, Ziyah sends, good morning. Then at 16:47 hours, she sends, did I have panties on? At 16:47, Jarvis replies, no. At 16:50, Ziyah sends him some question marks. And then at 1700, she has a missed call from Jarvis's number. It says missed call. She still has him saved in here as Bay for life. At 19:18 hours, she sends, how did you know? At 23:09 hours, she sends, you busy? At 23:11 hours, there is an incoming missed call again from Jarvis's number, missed call from Bay for life. It's now July 13th, 01:44 hours. Ziyah has sent him a picture. Immediately after that, she sends a text that says shower pic, and then there's some emojis. At 01:49, she says, damn, no response. At 01:49, 21 seconds, she sends some type of emojis again, and all those messages were deleted.
And now moving to July 22nd.
Before we move on, Sergeant Jones, do you need a moment, a break? Are you okay?
I gotta go a little bit longer.
Okay, carry on.
Unless the court needs a break.
No,
Okay.
I'm making sure that she doesn't need a break.
July 22nd, 2023 at 14:56 hours, Ziyah sends, "Bae, I wanna fuck." Then at 14:57 he replies, "Work." Immediately after that he replies, "I do too." 14:57 Ziyah replies, "No you don't." 14:57 Jarvis replies, "I do." Immediately after that Jarvis sends, "WYA," or "Where you at?" 14:57 Ziyah sends, "I'm at the crib." 14:57 hours and 57 seconds, Jarvis replies, "Come on." At 14:58, Ziyah replies, "Shan and Nana went to Family Dollar." The next message says, "I can't, I wish I could." At 14:58, Jarvis replies, "How long are they going to be?" At 14:58, Ziyah sends to him, "IDK," or "I don't know." The next message is, "I'm so horny." Then at 14:59, she sends, "I want a hug from you." At 15:01, Jarvis sends her a message that says, "I'm on my way," with the exclamation point. "I just got off the phone with Shan. They are at the barbershop."
And were those
messages were deleted, yes.
And moving to July 24th.
July 24, 2023 at 03:24 hours, Ziyah sends Jarvis a message that says, "Don't park in front." Immediately Jarvis replies, "Why?" Then at 03:25 Jarvis sends, "You act like you're going to come outside." At 03:25 Ziyah sends, "I can't, I have guests." 03:25 she sends, "And people do watch and look at the house all night." At 03:26 she sends, "Just park down the street, please. Thank you." 03:26 hours, Jarvis replies to her, "Who?" Ziyah then replies back, "People on the block." At 03:26 Jarvis replies, "Who is the guest?" At 03:26 Ziyah says, "My girlfriend, Vari girlfriend." 03:27 Ziyah sends, "I took his bitch." Then at 03:27 Jarvis replies to her, "She is our bitch." At 03:27 Ziyah sends to Jarvis, "She 14, about to be 15. At 03:28 she sends, "Are you close?" At 03:28 Jarvis replies, "Is she our bitch or no?" at 03:28 Ziyah replies, "Yes." Jarvis then replies to her and says, "You fake." 03:28 Ziyah says, "How? She is our bitch." At 03:29 she sends, "Bae, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you mad." 03:30 Jarvis replies to her, "She don't know about us, right?" 03:31 Jarvis then says, "And is she trustworthy?" At 03:31 Ziyah replies, "Yes, she don't know about us." At 03:56 she sends, "It's off." 03:57 Jarvis replies, "Wrong light." And at 03:57 she says the letter K.
Were those messages deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And later in the day on July 24th.
July 24th.
Before we keep going on, so this is me just finding this out because I didn't make it this far when I was taking my notes. So he not only has created another victim through Ziyah, but now he has his victim hunting for other victims. it's I'm just waiting on that jail justice I always hear about when it comes to child predators. I'm like, why he coming in here with his face not toe up every time? Like, where's those people that y'all say be in jail that don't that you know? I'm gonna be quiet, but you know what I'm saying.
At 12:22, Ziyah sends to Jarvis, "Fuck me then." At 12:22, he replies, "Huh?" And at 12:23, he replies, "I'm trying to." At 12:23, Ziyah sends to him, "You said fuck me." At 12:23, she sends, "So do so." 12:23, Jarvis replies, "When?" 12:23, Ziyah replies, "Trying to make time, going through my schedule, RN, for right now." 12:24, Ziyah sends, "What time are you going to work?" At 12:40, Jarvis replies, "Now." And now jumps to 21 hours, and Ziyah sends, "WYD for what you're doing." Then at 21:23, she sends, "You free?" with some question marks. We now jump to July 25th. At 17:33 hours, Ziyah sends, "I want to fuck today." At 17:33 hours, Jarvis replies back, "Come on." And then immediately after, he replies, "I'm by myself." At 17:33, she sends back to him, "I can't RN for right now." At 17:34, Ziyah sends, "After work, can you call for me, please?" And those messages were all deleted as well.
And now jumping to August 4th.
August 4th, 2023, at 22:07 hours, Ziyah sends to Jarvis, "Shan and Nana left. DON," and then there's some type of emoji. "Know what time they coming back?" At 22:08, Jarvis replies, "Okay, what you saying?" Ziyah then replies back, "What you think I'm trying to say?" But there's some emojis in there again. At 22:09, Jarvis replies back with some type of emoji. Ziyah then replies back, "IDK, is it? I don't know, is it?" At 22:09, Ziyah sends, "What you thinking?" At 22:10, Jarvis replies to Ziyah, "Are we fucking?" At 22:10, Ziyah sends, "Shit, are we? SHI." At 22:12, Ziyah sends a bunch of question marks. Now it's August 5th. Ziyah sends, "Wow, you stood me up."
I was gonna point out the judge's demeanor. So Mary, since you asked, is the judge going to sleep? I think she's trying to keep her sanity and her composure because she's supposed to still be as impartial as you can be. You know what I mean? So I think she's trying to do some calming methods, only have a little bit more to go, pep talks to herself. But no, she's wide awake. She's wide awake. I think she's trying to keep it together.
August 5th at 00:47, she sends, "I was waiting." And then at 00:47, she sends, "I a bum." And the next message after that is a correction that says, "You a bum."
And were those deleted?
Yes.
And now jumping to August 26th.
Okay, I need a break now.
Okay. It'll be a good time for a 15-minute break. You come back 12:10.
All right. Hey, put my kicks up. Yeah, she is about to read him for filth at the end. We're not going to watch that today together, but we will watch it together. I got to see enough of a preview that I know what's coming for him. but I can't wait to watch the whole thing. But I saved it for myself because I wanted to actually hear all the evidence presented so I could get it just, I needed it this way for my brain. But all I saw the headlines and I saw the preview of what she says about him. And I can't wait to actually just hear it from her mouth and watch her as she does what she needs to do. I think we're going a little bit more. Let me see if she's still holding these papers to finish out. Lord, I thought, oh my gosh. All right, we're getting back in there.
Okay, we are back on the record. This is case 2459617, the people of the state of Michigan versus Jarvis Butts. All parties are present. We took a 20-minute break, and Ms. Ripley, you can continue with your questioning.
Thank you. Sergeant Jones, I believe we were leaving off at August 26th.
Yes. So text messages from August 26, 2023, starting at 0909 hours. Ziyah sends to Jarvis, I'm in so much pain right now. At 0909 40 seconds, she says, my stomach hurts really bad. At 0937 hours, Jarvis attempts to call Ziyah. It shows here missed call from Bay for Life. At 14:26 hours, Ziyah texts Jarvis and says, I did have my period. It came when I was in the hospital. At 14:20 hours, this has now jumped to August 27th. 14:20 hours, Ziyah sends GM for good morning. August 28th, at 0006 hours, Ziyah sends to Jarvis, my stomach hurt real bad. 0055 hours, she sends, why you can't answer. 0056 hours, she sends, never mind this, you anyway. At 0131 hours, Jarvis replies to her, yes, baby. At 0132, Ziyah replies, my stomach hurt really bad. At 0132 hours, Jarvis replies to her, I didn't nut inside of you. At 0133, Ziyah replies, I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying it hurts really bad. At 0134, she sends, are you busy? 0149, Ziyah sends, I want to talk to you about some, let me know when you are free. And these were all deleted.
Okay. And August 28th, later in the day.
August 28th at 13:31 hours, Ziyah sends a message to Jarvis that says, I want to try something. At 13.
Okay, I'm taking another break real fast. There was a medical examiner that came in day one or probably day two or day three of this preliminary trial, and I do think the prosecution chose a medical examiner for the optics, because obviously this is at trial because they believe Ziyah was murdered. A medical examiner usually is associated with examining a body of someone that's not alive anymore. They don't have a body for Ziyah, but I do think that, and they said, well, we're questioning him on his medical expertise, not on him examining a body, because defense tried to object to it being a medical examiner. Well, he's still qualified to look at someone's medical history, but I do think prosecution made a strategic choice to have when you see, oh, the medical examiner's taking the stand, that puts more gravity towards the type of medical professional that is talking about her history. But the reason I actually put him on the stand was to say he did review her medical history. She did not have any life-threatening things in her medical history that would account for her all of a sudden not being alive now. So they took that off the table of she may have just suffered something natural and now she's just not here anymore. But again, I say, and defense knows it too. The medical examiner, instead of it just being a doctor, maybe one of her pediatricians or whatever, I do think they chose that because when you think medical examiner, you think, okay, this person's not here anymore. Because even me knowing they had not found her body, I was still like, what is this medical examiner about to say? What did they find? What did he see? And then they just, for now, used him to say she wouldn't have died from something in her medical history.
1332, he replies back, what? Spelled W-A-T. At 1332 hours, she says, a threesome. At 1344 hours, Ziyah sends, you down for it? Then she sends a question mark. At 1344, Jarvis replies back, with who? 1344, she replies, IDK, or I don't know yet, do you got someone? At 1345, she sends, I'm still looking.
And were those deleted?
Yes.
Okay. And just a little couple hours later on August 28th.
August 28th at 1858 hours, Ziyah sends, I feel you don't want to be bothered with me. 2200 hours, she sends, WYD for what you're doing. 2200 hours, she replies back, thinking about you.
Taking another break. I'm taking more breaks at the end than I did at the beginning, but I do want to ask y'all, because I feel like that has happened in the justice system before. Okay, let's say this goes to trial. Jarvis gets convicted. Do you think then that law enforcement would use that to maybe then file some charges against the grandmother and the aunt? Because I don't think they're innocent. I just don't know how far a role they played in this, but I don't think they're innocent. So I am wondering, like y'all are wondering about, are charges coming for them? Something, because I just feel like the more they look into this, the more they have to be like, we're looking at these two adults that were in the house with her.
2201, she sends, oh, so are you down with the threesome? 2221, he replies, yes, with who though? 2246, she sends, IK, still looking. Then immediately after that, she replies, IDK for I don't know. It is now August 29th at 0347. She sends, bet, that's what's up. He replies, huh? Ziyah then replies, none, we'll figure it out. At 0349 hours, he sends what? She then replies back to him, never mind, NBM, are you busy? She then replies at 0350, again, exactly, so I'll take that as a yes.
And were those deleted?
Yes.
And now we're moving forward to, sorry.
That's okay, go ahead.
We're moving forward to September 26th.
September 26th, starting at 14:31 hours, Ziyah sends, Bae, you up? With some question marks. Then she sends another set of question marks. 14:32, he replies, yeah. 14:33, Ziyah sends, my period haven't came at all. 14:36, she sends, hello, you there? With some question marks. 14:37, Jarvis replies to Ziyah, what you mean? At 14:38, Ziyah says, it have not came. 14:38, Jarvis replies to her, since when? Ziyah then sends at 14:38, 42 seconds, since I was in the hospital. The next message is, that was last month. I'm scared. I don't know IDK. What to do? I have to go to the doctor's TM for tomorrow. At 14:41, Jarvis replies in his eye and says, you said that you took a pregnancy test and it was negative. 14:41, she replies, it did. At 14:41, Jarvis then replies, so go get another one. At 14:42, Ziyah tells him on a text, I can't, I have no money. After that, she says, you go get one. At 14:43, she says, you ain't scared to get a plan B, get a pregnancy test and bring it later today. Just act like you have to use the bathroom. At 14:36, she says, PLS for please. She then replies, will you do it, with some question marks. At 14:51, she says, hello, with a bunch of question marks. Then at 14:56, Jarvis replies to her with, okay.
Okay, and now the messages from 9:26 at 14:31 and 41 seconds, all the way to 14:39 and 42 seconds, were those deleted?
Well, so they're deleted from the 14:31, 41 seconds, all the way down to 14:39 and 13 seconds. Those are not deleted.
Okay.
Then there's two that are deleted, which are the two messages that talked about, I'm scared, I don't know what I have to do. I have to go to the doctor's tomorrow. And then the other one that she deleted was when it says, you said that you took a pregnancy test and it was negative.
Okay.
There's one that she did not delete that was, it did. Then the rest of them after that, where it talks about get another test, come upstairs, and put it in the bathroom, those messages were deleted.
Okay.
Okay. A few times, the male detective and Sergeant Shannon Jones, I believe, they kept asking Jarvis, did you notice her changing? Was her face rounder? Did she look like she was getting bigger? And it goes to what, Put My Kicks Up is saying, and what we're hearing, that if we go by these messages, she would have been about 5 months pregnant, because if she started hurting around August, then she missed her period around September. Yeah, I could see if we went from August, September, October, November, December, January, she'd be getting around about 5 months pregnant at that time. Noir Angel said, there's two things that you said. Hold on. Noir Angel said, so she couldn't have gone to the hospital without a guardian, so why didn't the doctor ask if she was sexually active with stomach pains? They've been asking my daughter since she was 10. And then you said, whenever I take my daughter to the doctor always asks if she is sexually active. I don't understand why she is talking about the hospital visit as if she was there by herself as well. That did stand out to me, that it did seem like, I know she had to get there with somebody, and an adult had to be involved, but she does really speak as if she's by herself. And if the doctor saw anything, I do feel like he would have told an adult given her age. So yeah. And then I think somebody said, because I'm only going off what I can see in the pretrial, I'm trying to not get too far into the other areas because the theories start getting wild. So I kind of stayed in the trial, but y'all did say that at some point the aunt said she did see the pregnancy test or something like that. So yeah, but it does seem like it almost seems like she's at the doctor by herself, and as if everybody's just playing dumb about knowing that this little girl was pregnant.
And moving to September 27th.
September 27th, starting at 21:26 hours, Ziyah sends, but are we still on for Friday? At 21:31, Jarvis replies, what you mean? 21:38, she says, are we still on for Friday? At 21:49, Jarvis replies, yes. 21:49, Ziyah says, the letter K. At 21:49, Jarvis then sends a text to her asking, what we doing though? At 21:49, she sends back, fucking. At 21:50, Jarvis replies, seriously? 21:50, Ziyah replies, yeah, what else we gonna do? 2150, Jarvis replies back to her, where? Ziyah then replies back immediately and says, IDK, or I don't know, you pick somewhere. Then at 2151, Jarvis sends to her, I always do. 2151, Ziyah sends, I know. At 2152, she says, I really just want to cuddle, but if you want to fuck, we can. 2152, 20 seconds, she sends, so do you? With some question marks. 2152 and 35 seconds, Jarvis sends to her, do I weigh? Then right after that is a word that was corrected, like what? So should have said, do I what? Then Ziyah sends at 2152, wanna fuck. At 2153, she sends, I just wanna cuddle, but it ain't always what I wanna do. At 2153, she says, so yes or no? At 2154, Jarvis replies, only if you want to. 2154, she says, okay, so we fucking then. 2155, Jarvis replies, so stop talking about you want to cuddle then. 2155, Ziyah replies, okay, damn, you don't have to be mean. At 2155, Jarvis replies, and it shows that he laughed at her comment about you don't have to be mean.
Okay. And were all of those messages deleted?
No.
Okay. Where does it start that it was deleted?
They do not start getting deleted until the messages that Jarvis sends to her, only if you want to, so we fucking men, stop talking about you want to cuddle. Those are the messages that were deleted.
Okay. And now we are moving forward to October 19th.
October 19th, 2023 at 22:23 hours, Jarvis sends Ziyah a text that says, hey. She replies back, are you ignoring me? Jarvis then replies, no. It now jumps to October 21st at 19:05 hours, and Ziyah sends, hey bae, I need that plan B today. At 19:07 hours, Jarvis sends her the letter Y. The next message isn't sent until October 22nd at 04:33 hours when Ziyah replies back to him, WYMY, so for meaning what you mean, why.
And were those deleted?
Yes.
And now jumping to November 27th.
Okay, so now we're getting into the -5 hours for the,
Okay.
November 27th, 2023 at 21:06 hours, Ziyah sends, I just want to talk. I really don't want to lose you. At 21:09, she says, can we talk later, yes or no? At 22:28, she says, I don't what's your problem, but I need you to bring me what I need tonight. It's hard doing all this gym shit with this baby. And if I don't do them, I'm going to get a F. 22:28, she says, if you keep ignoring me, you just gonna get no more pussy. 22:35, she says, answer the phone, you not doing nothing. 22:36, she sends PLSSSS for please.
And were those deleted?
Yes.
And now, I'm going to jump ahead to January 9th of 2024.
January 9th, 2024 at 14:21, Ziyah sent to Jarvis, don't forget, be there before 3. I will let you know when I'm leaving the school. If you're not there, I will wait.
Okay, they jumped to January 9th. Just want to reiterate, January 9th, 2024 is when Ziyah went missing.
Then at 14:22, she sends, "Send okay if you've seen the message so I can delete your number." Then at 14:23, Jarvis replies, "Okay," and those messages were deleted.
And there was no further communication between Ziyah's text number and Jarvis's number after January 9th, 2024, 1 year ago today.
Yes.
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay. So, y'all educated me and said that the minors do have more rights, and the doctors will actually ask if you want your parents to stay in there or not. But my Kixo said my daughter knew not to say no or to say, yeah, I want my mom to leave. So I didn't know that that I knew that there were rights when it came to, if in some states probably, but if a child is pregnant and then if an adult is the only one that can make the decision, I knew they had some rights on that part, but I didn't know about not sharing if the child was sexually active or not. So we have made it to January 9th, 2024, which was the last communications that were sent from Ziyah's device, text now, social media, all of that. When they were interviewing Jarvis on that May 31st, June 1st time frame, and they said, what did you, and it was another time they interviewed him, I think in February 2024 also, and they say, you know, what do you mean by okay? Because she was texting you, she wanted to meet, and he was saying no, we never met up that day. And he was like, oh, I was just, I was so busy at the shop. I saw that message. I saw a lot of stuff. And I thought, oh, okay, she means meet at her grandmother's house, because that's where I would get them to come work at the shop type stuff. So I just texted back, okay. So a lot of it is, oh, I wasn't really looking at the messages. Oh, I thought it was Shannon. All these, sorry, weak lies and excuses. Let me see. Okay. So yeah, I wish I knew how much more about how criminal justice worked, because I am thinking about it. I'm like, I guess if they were gonna charge the aunt and the grandmother, they probably would have had to do it now. I don't know if they could do it later, now that I'm thinking about it, but their hands are not clean. Oh my gosh. And a lot of y'all have said today and other days, you saw the last recent pictures of Ziyah, you could tell her face was filling out and stuff like that. And that if y'all can see it, somebody that would know her could see like she's changing, and then she's not asking for pads or anything that goes with a teenager having her cycle for months at a time, and nobody's thinking, why isn't she, asking for anything? Yeah, the people's hands are not clean, for sure. We're stopping here. Hopefully you can do something to decompress from all that we just had to listen to. I don't want, I have a two-way street with this. I don't want him to take a plea deal, because I want him to go to trial and get like a maximum sentence, honestly. But I also am like, what if somehow, some way they don't find him guilty? And I'm like, dang, we could have got some time out of him. So I'm just like, I don't see how you couldn't, but I don't trust anything. But yeah, I really need the mom and aunt to be investigated as well. But he is a monster that has so many victims. And yes, I forgot about that part. The fact that the one that he's also in a trial with, that's his own, it's about his own daughter being a victim. He passed on an STD to her too. I had forgotten about that. It's just so much. And he had a history before his last two victims. Like, I don't understand these women that are letting their child just be around somebody and not vetting them properly. I don't understand also because there's some interrogations we've watched. Well, I've watched. I don't know if I watched them with y'all yet, but where the dads are leaving their kids with these women that hate their kids, and it's just like, A predator is a predator. You can't just be leaving your kids with people and just allowing them to go off with people. And you gotta talk. It's just so much. And I don't know how y'all parents do it. I don't know if you're a parent or if you're just, even if you're an aunt that's like, you're keeping such in touch with your niece and nephew like on a daily basis, and you're another figure in their life that's there for them in that way. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't. I'm a long distance aunt myself, and I don't want to go TMI, but basically I'm at best the awkward aunt. I'll put it that way. Being long distance, not meeting my nieces until they kind of were already established in their personalities and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know how parents do it. It's so much you have to be vigilant about. Put My Kicks Up said they said he refused the plea deal, so he must have some information that's going to get him something lighter. Okay, because I knew I had heard talks about it. I hadn't heard about accepting or refusing. Okay. LaDon said he also has other victims actively. He's not going anywhere. The school needs to answer questions. I can see some of it with the school, a lot of it with the home and the adults in the home. Jamie said, I understand he was violated as a teen, resulting in him being a young dad, but that would be even more reason why he shouldn't turn out this way. He knows how it feels to be violated. Yeah, some victims turn into predators. We see it so often. Right, LaDon said, any ladies, if a man has a record for sexual assault, run far away. Right. I told y'all, I feel like he picks out a certain type of women, even if it's not their physical presence, it's their personalities he's picking out. He's picking out the same vulnerability in women, and then the kids become a victim because he's picking out a very certain type of woman. I feel like basically a woman that's not going to do her due diligence, that is insecure, that is willing to make excuses for somebody that can't even form two sentences and can't speak the hell up, just mumbling all over the place. And even like the one that was on the stand, I think it was his ex-fiance, said he would talk in circles. I don't care what anyone says. Which one is it? The one that never spoken to the microphone properly, but everybody else since her has been on that stand and we can hear them just fine in the microphone. I don't care what anyone says. Some people think she was mad and pissed on the stand because of her finding out what he did to children. And I still say that neck started working and she got mad when they started talking about if he was cheating or dealing with other women. Women like that profile of that type of woman, predators will continue to find victims through. Because you're still not even focused on the right thing. All right. So that's it for now. I will see y'all later this week. So because we still have to hear closing arguments, and also I think the defense is going to ask Sergeant Shannon Jones some questions before they get to closing arguments. So yeah, we'll be back sometime later this week. Yeah, just want a man. Yep, Mary, exactly. Yeah, I'm not with the sleepovers. When kids when I was seeing those stories about kids not coming back from a sleepover, they're not even alive anymore, let alone they got violated at a sleepover. I'm like, I get it. I see why parents are like, you know what? No sleepovers. No, it's not happening. Okay, y'all. I will see y'all later. Thank you for spending time with me and getting through this with me. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.